Hi there, I'm Danny Flexen. Welcome to the latest edition of SecondsOut ReFLEXions. I'm not going to say we're here every Monday at 4:30 to talk about the boxing action of the weekend just gone. I think it's time to retire that catchphrase, at least for the time being. We haven't had any boxing for such a long time now. There's little point rehashing a tagline that isn't really relevant until lockdown is lifted and boxing comes back, either behind closed doors or in front of crowds. But we are here to reflect on all things boxing related, and maybe that'll be a better tagline going forward, just in case anything like this ever happens again. So I want to talk this week about the process of interviewing fighters during lockdown and boxing personalities generally, not just fighters. And a real disparity that I've noticed while I've been doing this for the past 2 to 3 weeks in boxers who are overly keen to keep their name out there at the moment, and others who are pretty evasive. Now, I'm not going to name names, so if you're looking for me to dish the dirt, you should probably stop watching now, and I completely understand. But I just want to give kind of a rough idea of how things are going. And first thing I would say is that during this lockdown period, it's an absolutely huge gilt-edged opportunity for boxers, particularly ones who wouldn't normally get the attention, to raise their profiles. Now, put it this way, boxer A is 5-0, mainly beaten journeyman, didn't have a glittering amateur career, and is signed with a mid-level or small hall promoter. So his management team calls us up, or calls me up, and says, look, we want you to interview boxer A. He's really keen to do it. We want you to come to the gym in London, do the interview. Now, for us, that means taking time out of the day. It means spending money on the travel, going to the guy's gym, all of this for an interview that, best will in the world, and I used to work for Boxing News, I'm a hardcore fan, I love the small halls, it's not going to get more than 500 views. Even if you promote it, he's got a great backstory, whatever, it's probably not going to do that well. So 9 times out of 10, an invitation like that would be turned down. That's just a bitter reality of it, and it's not just for us, it would be for most boxing YouTube outlets. Now flip it a little bit and say we're in the middle of lockdown, the same guy wants to be interviewed, we can do it via Skype, Zoom, Facebook video, whatever. No travel costs, no real time costs apart from the 10 minutes it takes to actually conduct the interview. And more importantly, while all this is going on, viewers are starved of boxing content because there's no live fights and there's no press conferences, weigh-ins and so on. You're more likely to get a lot of views for someone with a relatively low profile than you were previously. You can also, as we always do, I don't want to say always because then I'll have to stick to it, but as we often do with the prospects, ask them to talk about their social media handles at the end of the video so people can then follow them. So it's a huge opportunity at very little cost to us or to the boxer right now to increase their profile. Whereas, they're getting opportunities that they wouldn't have had previously. We're more keen to work with them for obvious reasons. And going forward, if that increases their profile and they get bigger, then next time we're asked to go and visit them in the gym, we're more likely to do it. Everyone wins. And I've got to say, the vast majority of boxers during this lockdown have seen the kind of sense in that statement, and that I've had boxers and managers both emailing, phoning me, asking me to do stuff with their guys, which is great. We need content at the moment. It's not just viewers that are starved for content. Channel owners and content directors like me need to find content to fill the gap. And yeah, we'd all love to do an exclusive with Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua every day of the week, but it's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen in non-lockdown times. It's certainly not going to happen now. So we're keen to fill our schedules with good content, not necessarily content that's going to get thousands and thousands of views every time. Some will, some won't. But content that people are going to be interested in, and maybe as we've got the time to do it now and the opportunity, introducing people that you should know about and maybe don't. So yeah, we've had people call, we've had people email and wanting to be a part of it. People that will bend over backwards as well. They'll do it any time you want. They'll download platforms like Skype and Zoom if they haven't already got them. They'll just basically, not do whatever you want, and we're not particularly demanding anyway, but they will work hard around you to get their name out there because they realise it benefits them. What I've found though, with a select number of people, and it's not always the really high profile guys who can take or leave the media because they've already made their name. I've found this at all levels, but only a small amount of fighters and industry people just don't really seem that bothered. Either they don't see the opportunity or they see it and they don't want to take advantage of it. It's frustrating for us. We can still fill the content gaps because there's enough people that are desperate to get their name out there. But on the flip side, I find it hard to empathise. You're never going to get another opportunity like this with a captive audience who can't go out of their homes, literally, captive, and they can't leave. They're going to be watching YouTube, maybe not so much boxing because there's no live events to drive them to the boxing sector. But if you get the right person with the right headline, they're going to come over and watch it. They've got nothing else to do. They've probably already watched everything on Netflix. I know I've watched most things that I want to watch already. And I'm watching loads of boxing video content. I'm not going to name check other channels because I wouldn't do that. But I've been watching content on a variety of channels apart from our own as well. So it's a huge opportunity, and you've got boxers saying, well, can we do it next week? Or can we only do it in the evenings? Or can we do it at a weekend? You're not working, right? The vast majority of you are not working. You're either full-time pros or the job you've got has been laid off temporarily while the lockdown's going on. Why have we got to wait till the weekend or an evening to interview you when we're still working full-time during the days? Makes no sense at all. Or, yeah, I could do it. I'm not really sure. What do you want to talk about? It's all this prevaricating. I know it sounds a bit kind of arrogant on my part to say, how dare they ask questions in advance, and fair enough. But I just think at this point, there's no boxing on TV except for kind of old reruns and stuff. It's important to keep momentum of the sport going and momentum particular boxers going, especially if you haven't had a fight this year. If you're a boxer and your last fight was kind of the end of last year or even earlier, and you're not going to fight again, you're going to have like a year out of the ring. Surely it's good to have your name still on people's lips and to have your persona or your next fight or whatever you're doing still in people's minds. For prospects, it might be their first opportunity. For guys at the mid-level or about to challenge for titles, I think it's even more important that people don't just forget about them while all this is going on. Keep your name going, build your social media followings while there's a gap. Come back stronger than you were before with a bigger kind of digital footprint. I don't see the harm in that, and I certainly don't see why some people are veering away from being interviewed. And I'm not just complaining on our part. I think the guys, and again, I'm not going to name them, but some of the guys that I'm chasing, I haven't seen pop up on other channels either. So I'm assuming it's kind of a blanket attitude towards the process, which is fine. Everyone's got individual choice. I find it hard to fathom. But going back to a more positive original point, the vast majority of people have really embraced this and have used it as an opportunity, to keep training at home and getting bags and putting bags up and doing their runs and all that sort of stuff. Some of them even sharing their training with online audiences to inspire others, which is even better. But also in terms of raising their profiles, the people that have come to me and asked to be interviewed, I'm beyond honoured by that because it's great. You want them to make your job easier. It's perfect. And they see the benefit is going to themselves as well. So fair play, and it's also reassured me that boxing, out of all the major sports, is by far the most accessible. You wouldn't get this in football, you wouldn't get this in a lot of other sports, but boxers want to be out there, they want to relate to their fans, and they can do it directly on social media, which a lot of them are, and they can also do it through interviews where they get asked slightly different questions than the fans might ask. It benefits everyone, and it's why I'm proud to be a part of this sport rather than others, and it's also the only one that'll take me. Really appreciate the time. Want to read your comments below, let me know what you think. I'll be back next week, Monday 4:30 PM, and FlexPectations this Thursday 4:30 PM. See you all soon. Cheers.